Hello everyone, in this video we're gonna learn about list comprehensions. We're gonna see a lot of examples. So let's say that we were to create a list of items of numbers, from 1 to 10. So you could just say something like this, and I just create an empty list, and I say for I in range 1 to 11 numbers dot append I, and then I just print numbers. So as you can see, we get the numbers from 1 to 10 using a for loop. But one might ask, is there a better way to do this? Is there another way to write this in a better um, syntax? So the answer is yes, and it's list comprehension. Here's the syntax for list comprehension, and it just tells you that it just tells Python that, okay, this is the for loop. I'm just using a for loop for item in an iterable or a range, or the things that you can use here, or an iterable or range. And here's the expression. The expression is the values that we want to add to the list. And you can also use an if condition. For instance, we want to add even numbers in this range. You could just add a condition here to test if each item in the for loop is even, and then add it to the list. We're gonna see the examples, don't worry. But here you can see that it's a really beautiful syntax to write and create lists. So let me use this syntax to just create this list. So I just could say that I for I in range 1 to 11. So this simply creates the same list that we had, but using list comprehension. So as you can see, I'm just saying that this is the for loop for I in range 1 to 11, and add each item in the for loop to the list. So you can see that we have 1 to 10. What if I wanted the even numbers in this range? You could just say that you could just change the starting point and the step here and create the list of even numbers, but I'm going to use the if condition to see how it works. So I could just say I for I in range 1 to 11 if I mod 2 is equal to 0. This simply tells Python that if the item in the for loop was an even number, then add it to list. So when we run this code, you get the even numbers from 1 to 10, and they are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. So we can use list comprehension in different situations. We are gonna see a lot of examples and learn it through different examples. So here are the exercises. The first exercise tells us that create a list that contains the squares of the even numbers from 1 to 10 using list comprehension. So just pause the video and think about it, and let's say that if you can do it or not, and then watch the video with me. So squares of even numbers. Let's see. So we have a list for I'm going to use X here. It doesn't really matter. You can use whatever name you want. So x for x in range, let's say that from 1 to 10 even numbers. You could just use, you could just use the range and change the step and the stopping point and the step and the starting point. But I'm going to use just this range from 1 to 11 because I want to use if condition. So 1 to 11, and if x mod 2 is equal to 0. So this gives us 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. But we want the squares of these numbers. So what should we do? Exactly. Just could do something like this. Remember, this is the expression. It doesn't have to be just a variable or a name or something like that. You could add an expression here. I want to do these and that, and then add it to the list. So I want each of these numbers that are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 to be raised to the second power and then added to the list. So you can see that now we have 4, 16, 36, 64, and 100. So the next exercise tells us that vowels in a string. Given a string, create a list that contains all the vowels in the string using list comprehension. So just before solving this problem, you could do something like this. I would say that char in for char in string, and you could just separate each character in this list using list comprehension. This is simply saying something like this, right? Saying something like string dot split, right? And here you can't really split it, right? Because there is no space here. But let's put some spaces here, and then you can see that it gives us a list containing each character in the string. But you can actually use list comprehension to just split each character in the list and then add it to the list. So let's say that we are going to get a string from the user. Just enter some string, and we want to find the vowels in the string. So just pause the video, think about it, and then watch with me. Vowels. So I would just do something like this. I'm just using list comprehension, and here I could say that item for item in what? In what? What do you think about this? In our string, right? That we got from the user. But we want to, let me change item to character. I would like to write it down as a character. So if what? If char in A, E, I, O, U, right? These are the vowel sounds in English. And here we're going to get the vowels in the string. So let me say hello world, and you're going to get E, O, and O in the list. So this works perfectly fine, and there is a drawback here, and the drawback is that if the user enters the string as with uppercase letters, it's not going to work. So if I run this code again and I just write down something like this, it's not going to work. So what could we do? could just say that char dot lower in this, right? So I'm just gonna say hello world again, and we are gonna get EOO, right? And if you want to add the lowercase of each items in this string, you could just say that char dot lower here. So let's do the next exercise. It tells us that we want to generate a list of numbers from 1 to 50 that are multiples of both 3 and 5 using list comprehension. So pause the video, think about it, and then come back. So we're gonna use list comprehension, and I'm gonna say numbers and then print numbers. So we want multiples of 5 and 3. So I would say n for n in range 1 to 51 if n mode 3 is equal to 0 and n mode 5 is equal to 0, right? Then when we run this code, we get 15, 30, and 45. So you could just add your condition here, and it doesn't matter it don't need to be just a little condition or one condition. You can just add as many conditions as you want. So n for n in range 1 to 51, and we have numbers that are that satisfy this condition here, and they are 15, 30, and 45. So the next exercise tells us that you want the uppercase, the first letter of each word given a sentence. So we have a sentence. Create a list that contains each word with its first letter capitalized using list comprehension. So this is a very interesting exercise. So pause the video, think about it, do it yourself, and then come back. So we're gonna just get the string again from the user. So I'm gonna put input here, enter your string, and here we're gonna say that the string is gonna be this, and we're just gonna print it again. So what do you think? We want each word in the sentence to be capitalized, right? So we could say that word dot capitalize for words in string dot split, right? And so let's run it. So I have this is some testing string, and we are going to get this is some testing string with uppercase letter for the first character of each string. So the next exercise, it tells us that given a list of numbers, create a new list that contains only the positive numbers using list comprehension. So this is interesting. We have an iterable here. We have a list containing numbers. So I have something like this: -2, 2, 10, -11, 100, 23, 65, -89. So we have a list of numbers. Okay, we want to create a list, but we want to filter this list from negative numbers. So I would say that positive numbers, and they're just gonna be let's say x for x in numbers if what? if x is greater than 0, right? And then just, let's say, positive numbers, let's just print them, and then we have 2, 10, 123, and 65. So from now on, if you want to create a list, if you want to do something that, contains lists, iterables, and things like that, think about it. And first, just think about if you can do this using list comprehension. It would really help you to write better code. I'm going to include some other exercises, and if you have any questions, just ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Just I added these 5 exercises here. So the first one tells you that create a list that contains the square roots of all positive numbers from 1 to 10. We have we want odd numbers. Generate a list of cubes for all odd numbers from 1 to 15, and then given two lists of strings, create a new list that contains the concatenation of corresponding strings from the two lists. And we want to find the length of words given a sentence, create a list that contains the length of each word, and then given a list of words, create a new list that contains only the words with more than 3 characters. So happy coding, and see you soon.